What's up, everyone? Jeremy here from The Quartering. And if the Mad Lad actually does this, it will be completely bonkers. Trump has been on the absolute warpath since taking over as president just 7.5 days ago. And yesterday, on top of all the great things he's done, free the J6ers, freed Ross, had all sorts of other incredible executive orders, like reinstating the military, 8,000 military folks that lost their job for refusing the jab and gave them full back pay. He just keeps one-upping himself, and it's absolutely crazy. Now he's out there talking about ending federal income tax. If he ends federal income tax, that will be the most important legacy that any modern day president could have had. And it's not even just that, it's so much more. By the way, we'll talk about all this while we're live today. I'm live with Hannah Claire Brimlow and Melanie Mack over on Quartercast, which will be linked in the description below, or on Rumble. If you download the Rumble app, follow The Quartering, we're live there. I prefer you watch there. But if you're YouTube only, please subscribe to Quartercast. Help us get to 100,000 subscribers. It's going to be absolutely legendary. We're trying to get 100,000 by my birthday in April. Love all the support we're getting on the live stream there. Yesterday was one of our bigger live streams to date. So we're growing a little bit each day. We're live every day at 1 Eastern. So whether you watch on Rumble or YouTube, I just hope you'll tune in. Now, let's listen to what President Trump had to say.
Is going to be very rich again, and it's going to happen very quickly. It's time for the United States to return to the system that made us richer and more powerful than ever before. Do you know, the United States in 1870 to 1913, all tariffs, and that was the richest period in the history of the United States, relatively speaking. In other words, relatively. And they set up the Great Tariff Commission of 1887, and this commission had one function: what to do with all the money that we took in. It was so enormous that they had no idea. It was a blue ribbon committee. It was set up 1887, and what to do with all of the money that we had. And again, Teddy Roosevelt was a beneficiary, because when McKinley was killed, he took over this vast sum of money, and he did all of those national parks and all of the other things. And I'm not knocking him, but he was given a vast amount of money.
Yes, he was.
And that was all made through tariffs. We had no income tax. The income tax came in 1913. As I said in my speech last week, instead of taxing our citizens to enrich foreign nations, we should be tariffing and taxing foreign nations to enrich our citizens. Does that make sense, right?
I mean, this gives everybody immediately more money in their pocket. Now, the left will say, but tariffs, you're just going to pay 5% more for everything that gets... No, that's not how tariffs work. Again, I will explain for the dumbs on the left. Yes, a corporation or a company, right? They might choose to simply try and pass that cost on to the American consumer. 10%, 15%, 20% tariff. Like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez tried to say yesterday, oh, but if there's a 25% tax on Colombian beans, then Colombia's just going to raise the price 25%. Okay, they might do that. What's more likely? Americans just pay 25% more for your item? Sure, some people will, but that's a choice they're going to make. Most people will go to Ethiopian beans or Honduran beans or any number of other origins. Right? We know this on Coffee Brand Coffee. You know, speaking of different origins, by the way, till midnight today, we have our Roaster's Choice program, which is our best coffee. It's the best coffee. We only do about 500 of these a month. It's a monthly coffee club, but each month it comes from a different location. So speaking of not Colombia, Bolivia we've had, Brazil, Burundi, we've had El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, Nicaragua, Rwanda, Timor, so many. I mean, and we've had probably about 50 different locations. It's free today. You get your first month free if you sign up today. I'm going to leave a link in the description. Your first month is free. That's how much I know you're going to like. This isn't necessarily an everyday coffee for you. It's a little more expensive, but if you want to reward yourself at the end of the day, you're probably not drinking 10 cups of this a day, but this stuff is ultra rare and it's a really cool thing. So, you could always do that, by the way. So people will just get their coffee from other places. That's pretty easy, right? Some people may pay more, but people will just move to other options. Also, not every Colombian exporter is going to do that. Some Colombian exporters are going to say, you know what, this is an opportunity for me. I make a little less money, but I make it up in volume. So some people who make beans in Colombia, who America is probably their number one business by and large, they're going to say, we're going to eat that because we're going to, gobble up more of the market. So the idea that people automatically charge more is it's a scare tactic. A scare tactic by the left to try and get you to keep paying enormous income taxes, apparently, because they love income taxes. On top of that, Trump is now set to pause all federal grants, loans, and all forms of other assistance, according to a new leaked memo. The White House Budget Office ordered all federal agencies to freeze all activities related to the obligation of or the disbursement of federal financial assistance, which includes grants and loans that do not align with the new administration's priorities. So that means your DEI loans, that means your $6,000 a month to every migrant on a debit card. That means all the corporate propaganda programs, the woke ESG stuff, all that's done. This is not meant to target any assistance provided directly to individuals, such as Medicare or Social Security. Rather, the leaked memo from the Office of Management and Budget details how agencies must now pause all more widely distributed federal grants, loans, and financial assistance programs. In the interim, the agencies are now tasked with identify which one Trump would want to slash based on a slew of executive orders signed his first week back in the Oval Office. The actions would bring budget alignments within the president's push to end the government advancement of wokeness, transness, environmentalism, and Marxist equity, or so-called diversity, equity, and inclusion programs. In the fiscal year 2024, more than $3 trillion was doled out for federal financial assistance. Much feels the new administration was a waste of taxpayer money. The suspension goes into effect today at 5 p.m. Eastern, according to the OMB memo. Agencies are given till February 10th to submit a detailed information on any programs, projects, or activities subject to pause. By this cutoff date, OMB will likely be run by Trump's incoming nominee for the office director, Russ Vought, a man known for wanting to slash government spending. Based. Absolutely based. Love it. In the interim, to the extent that is permissible under acceptable law, federal agencies must temporarily pause all activities related to obligation or disbursement of all federal assistance, Vought wrote, calling government agencies to identify and review all federal financial assistance programs and supporting activities to ensure that spending is consistent with Trump's administrative policies. Absolutely based. Absolutely based. And he's not done yet, by the way. New tariffs over immigration and drugs flowing over our southern border, and talks about Greenland. In a strategy rarely seen from other presidents, and never at this frequency, Mr. Trump threatened governments like Mexico with tariffs over immigration. In his first term, now he appears to be making those threats almost daily, including on Sunday when he said Colombia would face tariffs after its government turned back planes carrying deported immigrants. The willingness rhetorically to throw the kitchen sink and use the whole toolkit is trying to send a message to other countries beyond Colombia that they should comply and find a way to address their own border concerns. Exactly. You need to secure your own borders and stop sending these people to America. You know? Stop sending them here. They won't get in. Of course, the Greenland thing. Greenland, I thought was a meme, but it looks like possibly more like a fact. Here you have, again, the grant and loan freeze taking an effect at 5 p.m. today. Absolutely killer. Then ICE had an all-time record of arrests yesterday, over 1,100. They probably need to arrest 5,000 to 10,000 people a day to actually get to the numbers that are going to be required. But I'm fine. Let's get rid of the criminals first. Let's get rid of the criminals first. The people who have ever been arrested for anything. By the way, here's Colombian president's daughter shades Trump's deportation feud. For every Colombian deported, we will return a gringo. Your terms are acceptable. If there's any white people in Colombia who are there illegally, you're welcome to send them back. I'm fine with that. I'm 100% fine with that. Do you think that's supposed to be an own? This person, I assume their Twitter. For every Colombian deported, we'll send back a gringo. Cool. Fine. Bye. We'll take them back. Happy to take them back. The whole thing is bonkers. I mean, the fact that she thought this is going to be an own, fine. If there's any Americans there that are illegal, send them back. Now we've got major immigration raids now starting in New York. New DHS boss, Kristi Noem, joins feds on hunt for criminal dirtbags in New York City. First major immigration raids under Trump's deportation initiative. They should happen 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, until every criminal is rounded up. Every single one of them. These people are committing crimes with impunity. They are caught and released by our government. They are wreaking havoc on law-abiding American citizens, and they have been enabled by woke governments. Now you have the Minnesota governor or whatever saying, we're not going to comply. New York trying to say, we're not going to comply. Doesn't matter. You don't have to. ICE is going to come in there and do it. ICE is going to come in there and do what they have to do. It doesn't matter whether you want to quote unquote comply or not. So absolutely based. Ending all woke funding today at 5 p.m. ICE raids going. Ending federal income tax. It's if every time I Google it, like if I Google Trump's name right now, I bet you he's done another thing. Here's 1 hour ago. The federal grants pause and pause as firings reshape the Justice Department. Oh yeah, he also cleared out the special counsel. The acting Attorney General, James McHenry, fired more than a dozen prosecutors who worked with special counsel Jack Smith on 2 federal BS prosecutions of Mr. Trump, saying they could no longer be trusted to do their jobs. That seems fine to me. He didn't put them in jail. He just fired them. Fine by me. Trump also signed 4 executive orders focused on the military. 2 are aimed at eliminating diversity and equity practices and ending any formal recognition of trans and non-binary people. Another reinstated service members who refused the jab. Oh, by the way, according to early results, military enrollment is up. What a coincidence. Give me 4 more years of this and 8 years of JD Vance doing it, hopefully. And we might have this country back on track. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to leave a like on it. If you haven't yet, please subscribe or follow down below, and we'll talk to you again real soon.